What's going on YouTube? So Genesis is a brand that has really been on the rise recently with a slew of brand new and very exciting products that are either already on the market or coming very soon. And this right here is the latest one, the heavily refreshed 2022 Genesis G70. It now has the brand's latest design language and a ton of upgrades all around. So let's go ahead and jump right into the review and see if this is the luxury sports sedan you should buy. So when you first walk up to this new G70, you might think I'm mistaken and that this is actually a fully redesigned model and not a refresh, because there's that much different, especially up here in the front. So of course you're going to have the application of the latest Genesis design language, which just has a overall classier appearance. And you have that signature grille that now comes through here. It's a lot larger and kind of extends down into your lower area. This would be finished in silver on the standard model. And then both of the sport trims with the 3.3T will have this smoked finish. Same also applies for your lower fascia as well. And then let's come over here to the headlights, because this is another substantial revision. So the brand new Genesis models have the quad beam LED headlights, and you'll see that reflected here with the G70. So you have two different clusters with your double turn signals, and of course, like I said, everything in here is full LED. Now, of course, no sports sedan would be complete without large and nice looking wheels, and thankfully Genesis has you covered. So if you choose the standard model, that will come with 19-inch contrast alloys, and then both of the sport trim levels will come with these very nice looking 19-inch dark finished alloys. And then further complementing the design, if you go for the top end sport prestige model, that's going to throw in Brembo brakes finished with really nice red brake calipers. Now as we rise up here, you'll notice we have a smoked chrome around the windows and the mirrors here. And as far as the mirrors themselves, they are fully loaded on every 3.3T model. So that means you have auto dimming, blind spot monitoring, power folding, and heating.
Alrighty, so here at the side, they really haven't changed a lot for this refreshed G70. But as we make our way to the rear design, you will see that's not the case back here, because they really have done a lot to this rear, just like in the front, to make this look almost completely new. Now, breaking down some of the design elements that this new model is going to have, we have basically a flat trunk lid with Genesis spelled out across the back. We have our G70 branding and some of the other branding on the other side. Then if you look over at the taillights, these are mimic the newest Genesis models. So we do have these full LED taillights with the turn signal and brake light in there. And then coming down, we have our LED reverse lights integrated into here, and that's going to be right next to your new dual oval exhaust outlets that this G70 has. And the sport models do have a special sport tuning, and if you'll notice, there's also dual tips in each exhaust outlet, so I guess you could technically say it has quad exhaust. Now, one of the really nice things about going for a Genesis over some of the German rivals is that you're going to get all of the safety systems standard across the board. So that's going to be your forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, as well as your auto high beam headlamps. Well guys, as you can see, they've done quite a lot to this G70 on the outside for the refresh, but I know they've also done quite a bit on the inside, so let's go ahead and check that out before we take it out in a spin. But before we do all of that, you know what would really make my day? If you hit that subscribe button down below.
So walking up to the new G70, you do have the newest Genesis key fob, which has its own unique design. You've got some real metal buttons through here, including for your remote start system. And if you choose the Sport Advanced trim level or above, that will also throw in the digital key system, which can unlock with a key card or an Android smartphone. Now as we walk up to the vehicle, the mirrors will electrically fold out, and you can just grab behind the handle to unlock the door. Alright, so let's take a look inside of this cabin. If you know anything about the previous model year, you'll know that the changes are not as extreme as on the exterior. However, there are still a lot of different updates to materials and details throughout the cabin. Now, as far as those material and color options, the standard model will come with real leather seating in your choice of black, storm gray, velvet burgundy, or dune color options. And this Sport Advanced trim level also comes with the same real leather and the same design on the seat, except you have the choice between black and storm gray with the color contrast stitching, and as you can see, we even have a color contrast seat belt, which is definitely a nice touch. Then finally, the Sport Prestige model is going to come with quilted Napa leather, and then the Launch Edition will come with a special full red leather interior. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is nicely finished. Of course, we have leather across the majority of it, including here on the armrest with your stitching detail. You have a perforated leather through this area, and the top will be a soft touch plastic. Sport models will throw in a textured aluminum trim through here. We do have standard 2-person memory seating, and all 4 of the windows are one-touch auto up and down. Now checking out the seats themselves, you're going to start with a 12-way power adjusting seat on the standard model. However, both the Sport 3.3T models will throw in additional bolster adjustments and power thigh extension. And then coming back to the seat itself, like I said, it is a real leather. I love this updated design here with the lines going through it, all the stitching details. Again, the color contrast seat belt really just makes for a very special look to this cabin. Now, like I was saying, the main aspects of the design inside the cabin have not really changed, but different finishes inside of here have changed. So across our upper dash, this is going to be a soft touch plastic with the color contrast stitching. As we move down to the middle area, this is all finished in a nice leather material with the stitching detail, which runs all down through the side and over here. You have more leather that runs along this side with the stitching detail, and we have that new texture aluminum finish that runs through the middle part. Of course, everything in here does fit together very, very well. Now, to start it up, put your foot on the brake and press the standard button. And as soon as you start it up, you'll notice a difference right here, and that is a new gauge cluster. So this is the updated partially digital gauge cluster that you see in the G80 and the GV80. So basically you just have the analog gauge here, and then you have the digital gauge cluster over here, which you can change through various different settings, including for your safety systems. Now, if you choose the loaded Sport Prestige model, that's going to throw in the blind view camera system as well as a head-up display. Now coming back to the steering wheel, we do have the nice Genesis design. Of course, it is nicely leather wrapped, and surprisingly, it is standard power adjusting on every 3.3T model. If you want heating, you will have to choose an all-wheel drive trim level. Okay, but let's go ahead and check out interior storage. I mean, it's not a super big focus for a sports sedan like this, but you definitely want enough for a day-to-day driver. So, checking out the center console here, this is actually pretty nicely sized. Really nice felt lining as well, and a USB port. But, let's put it to the test. So we got our coupons here. Looks like we can fold them in half, and then I can shut the lid on them. Boom. Perfect. So that passes the coupon test. We have our cup holders. Up in the front, we have another large storage area. This is a wireless phone charging pad on all but the base model. You also have an additional USB port and a 12-volt outlet. Now taking a look at the shifter, every model will come with this electronic shifter. I'm just going to pull back for drive, of course. We do have paddle shifters on board for manual shifting. And then for reverse, you'll just go up in the opposite direction. When you go into reverse, you will find this standard backup camera here with the active trajectory, as well as front and rear parking sensors. And if you choose the very top Sport Prestige model, that will throw in the 360-degree camera system. Then for park, you're just going to press the P right next to the shifter. And then back behind here, you will find your automatic hold, your electronic parking brake, as well as your drive mode controller. Now Now jumping above that with very similar looking buttons, we have our climate control. So this is a standard dual zone automatic climate control setup. Very simple to use. Genesis said they're really trying to keep driver focused on this, so they keep all the controls simple, which I definitely agree with. Next to that, you have your 3-stage heated seats. Those are standard equipment, and if you want seat ventilation, you'll have to choose at least this Sport Advanced model. And then up above that, we have a row of physical audio controls as well. So with the Sport Advanced and the Sport Prestige, you're going to have the 15-speaker Lexicon Premium audio system. So we'll go ahead and give that a sample right now. Yeah, so overall sound quality is very nice. Definitely fills up this cabin well. And, you know, I like the metal speaker grills that it throws in as well. Okay, so let's return up here to one of our more substantial updates to the cabin for 2022, and that's this brand new 10.25-inch display. So previously, the largest display you could get was 8 inches, so this is quite a nice upgrade. As you can see, it does have really small bezels. It is a touch display, and you have the latest software on board, which just has a more modern look to it, as well as being a lot faster in performance. As far as the features you have on board, you do have integrated navigation built in. You can go into a split screen view like this, or you can collapse that to have the maps take up the full display. And of course, you have standard Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, however they are the wired variety. Now moving above that, we have a auto dimming mirror up here with your HomeLink universal remotes. And then, so long as you choose anything but the base standard 3.3T model, that will throw in this large sunroof here. So it's not quite panoramic, however it is quite a bit larger than a typical sized moonroof. And as you can see, it does open up nice and wide, and you have the windscreen as well.
Alrighty, so here I am in the G70's rear seat, and I want to go ahead and start out by talking about the space. Now, as far as the legroom figures are concerned, you're looking at 35 inches of rear legroom, 37 inches of rear headroom. That is going to be smaller than the related Kia Stinger, and it's a little bit smaller than some of the other competition like the Acura TLX and the German rivals as well. And behind rear seating position, I have, I would say, probably 5 inches or so of legroom, and my feet can slide up underneath the seat, but it is going to be a little bit tight back here, and we do have this large center tunnel for the middle seat. Now, as far as the features are concerned, though, we do have vents here in the center. If we drop down, we have a charging USB port. If we fold this down, we have cup holders inside, and I do also want to mention that if you go for the fully loaded model, you can get heated rear seats. Now, walking up to the G70's cargo area, you will notice that we do have the hands-free smart trunk. This one is not actually fully power, it is just the smart trunk. However, you can also get the fully power trunk if you prefer that, although I don't really see the need since it does dampen all the way up anyway. But as far as the space itself is concerned, you're looking at 10.5 cubic feet of space for the G70. That is going to be, of course, on the smaller end for the segment, and definitely smaller than what the Kia Stinger is going to offer, but it's pretty okay amount of space for most of our stuff. It's a little shallow, but it is quite wide. And then if we open up the floor, we have a nice carpeting, and we also have a spare tire up underneath. Now over here at your passenger seat, it is going to be power adjusting with the 4-way lumbar support. It is missing a few adjustments from the driver's side though. And then as far as the glove box is concerned, we have a really nicely felt line one. That's a nice luxury touch that I'm pleased to see. And then as far as the coupons are concerned, obviously that's very important for any vehicle that we review, and it does fit them in there just fine, and we even have some more stuff here on the side. And then if we look up top, we have a large sun visor with a large mirror, we have LED lighting, and we can also detach and extend.
just like that, we were at, well, about 75 miles an hour actually. Well above 60, so really, really quick. Obviously, we've got the upgraded engine. So we've got the 3.3 twin turbo V6 engine. It is going to be the same as last year, so you're making really nice power numbers. 365 horsepower, 376 pound-feet of torque, and this thing moves quite quickly.
She is quick.
Right. There is still the base turbo, 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder engine offered. It's not the updated 2.5 like you get in the Kia Stinger, but that is still available if you want the lower price point. It also has the same power as last year, but I'm pretty sure most of you guys are going to want this one.
Yeah, this is the one to get because this vehicle is really, really excellent when it comes to the driving dynamics, as you'll see throughout this test drive. So having that paired with a really, really nice, powerful engine is certainly a magical thing. Now, before we get off of this road right here, I will get a sound level reading because this is a perfect opportunity. Get it in comfort mode. And we're looking at 56.9. That's a very, very good reading. I believe a lot of the luxury competition may be testing just a little bit lower than that, but just from the seat of my pants, this seems very, very quiet. And I'm also really appreciating the ride quality just cruising down the highway. This truly is a vehicle that you can daily drive and have a lot of comfort, but also a lot of fun when you get to a country road. And since we were on the subject of ride quality, I do want to point out that you can get adaptive dampers on the G70. This one, since we're not fully loaded, does not have them, but you can get it if you go for that fully loaded model.
Yeah. But regardless if you have them or not, like you said, this rides pretty well and also is really tuned just to be super sharp because this is a genuine sports sedan. Now we're gonna turn over here and actually get on a little bit of a country road to show that off to you guys. But just like with the 2021 model that we drove not too long ago, this is a really fine-tuned sports sedan. Genesis focused a lot on the driving dynamics. Really more so than a lot of the rivals, which have kind of grown larger and softer over time. You know, this thing really is a genuine sports car. Yeah, as we turn through some of these corners here, you can see just how tight the body stays. Really very limited body roll, great control with the suspension, and the steering also has a nice and accurate feel. It gets heavier as you go faster and go into the sport mode. You know, so like I said, this really does its job very well of being a luxury sports sedan, which I'd like to show off a little bit more, but it looks like we're behind a tractor.
Kentucky problems.
Fun.
But that today is certainly going to be the slam dunk for this model, is just the driving experience. Like I said, the engine coupled with just the fantastic driving experience with the G70 that you're really missing from a lot of the German rivals now is what it really stands out most in.
And we'll go ahead and talk about today's airball as well. For this, I think it's going to be space. That's something that you can't really change with the refresh. And this continues to be one of the smaller offerings in the class. It's smaller than most of the German vehicles as far as your back seat and your trunk. And it's especially smaller than its sibling rival, the Kia Stinger with the Sportback design. So So let's talk about the transmission. We have an 8-speed automatic transmission on board. This is a really good transmission, very smooth. but also very responsive when you get it into sport mode or do some manual shifting like what I'm doing right now.
And it is worth noting the 6-speed manual has been discontinued now, so.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But I believe that was only with the 2-liter motor anyways.
It was very limited availability. And I should go ahead and mention the fuel economy for this model. So if you go for rear drive, it's going to be coming in at 21 miles a gallon combined. If you go for all-wheel drive with this turbo engine, it's going to be 20 miles a gallon combined. And as far as the pricing is concerned, we're going to be looking at $42,100 for the turbo 3.3 liter turbo standard model, which is actually $4,100 lower for 22, which that almost never happens. And then the Sport Advanced is going to start at $46,400, and then the Prestige is $50,400. So there's a lot more competitive prices this year for this model. And then as far as how this one is equipped, we have the middle one with the destination charge. It's going to come in at $50,410.
But overall, this is a really excellent product. I was very excited to see this refresh personally, because just how impressed I was with the 2021 model with the way it drives compared to a lot of the competition. And you know, I'm really happy to say that Genesis has really built on that really strong basis that they already had. This refresh here really just adds a lot of things, especially the styling that just brings it fully up to date. And even now we have a price reduction. You have more stuff, better style, and a price reduction. There's really not much you can complain about, right?
Well guys, we really appreciate you watching one of the first in-depth looks at this 2022 Genesis G70 Sport. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, be sure to help us out by hitting that subscribe button down below. It's completely free, and all it's going to do is give you notifications on our most recent content, so be sure to do that. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.